you might go into this relationship, oh, Nikki, I love you so much. That's a, you know, where it was, but then 10 years down the line, you hate my guts, I hate your guts. Now it's like, oh, well, at the time, I was so in love with you, I didn't want to sign a prenup. Now I hate your guts. Now, guess what? You have the upper hand against me now because if I have to treat you well, because if you leave, you could take over half my stuff. That is not happening. No. Sign a prenup. As a matter of fact, I'll go as far as saying every year you also need to update your prenups. It's just like one of those things. It's like carrying a gun or carrying a condom. It's like, listen, it's better that you never need it when you had it than you need it and
And you
you
don't
don't
have it.
have it.
Oh no,
So
That is
get
so
a prenup.
logical.
if you're married with someone, what is your kind of opinion on who should, bear the brunt, let's say, of the finances? Do you guys feel like it should be 50-50, one versus the other? What's kind of your opinion on finances for marriage? Thaddeus, go.
Right. But you already know my view. For me personally, I like the more traditional approach. However, I realize that that's not for everyone. I think we've discussed this on the show before about the finances and like, should a man pay and or should it be 50-50? I say that everyone is different, right? So it's just like you have to have, I guess, compromise, speak about things, decide who's going to pay more. If you're going to pay more, expect that person to do less at home. Like it needs to be fair for everyone, you know? The guy can't pay 100% and then come home and still do chores. Meanwhile, if the wife is going to work and she's paying half of the bills, she can't be expected to come home and also do all of the chores as well. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. So
Yeah, and I was thinking too about when I was again looking for this house recently, and again, I'm a single person, so I don't have a two-income household. And I'm wondering, like, how can one person who has a decent job, let's say, when I say decent, let's say the average kind of single professional, let's say they're making between, let's say 40 to 75. Even that in South Florida, like, how can you afford to have mortgage and pay all these bills by yourself? It's so hard. So I can't imagine me telling a guy, oh, you have to pay these bills if you're making, in that income, and I know that I can help. So it's nowadays, I think it's really set up for two-income household now. It's not like before where perhaps one person could afford it. Go ahead. What were you going to say, Ashley?
I think I have like a reformed traditional sense. I think that, so me and my friends were actually discussing this recently, and I think that a good system that I think that I will use when I'm married is that whatever percentage is coming out of the income. So let's say, for instance, my husband makes $100,000 a year and I make 50, I make half. So I think it should be a percentage that goes towards one account that is used to pay for all the bills, utilities, whatever. So if it's 20% of his 100,000, it's 20% of my 50,000, and that's what we can contribute to the bills. Then that's what we contribute to the bills, and you can alter it however, whoever makes what. But like you're putting in what you can for towards the bills. It's not like it's 50% of your money and it's more a high percent of the other person's income. It's like the same percent what you can contribute, not like a specific amount. You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, I do. And it does. I think some people do have that kind of approach where it's like, okay, it depends who's making more, who could, give more. I'm totally about everyone putting the money in the same pot. That's me. I feel like if we're together, it's our money. It's not my money versus your money. Let's pay from the same pot. How about you, Renzo? What do you think?
Well, I have two opinions on that. My general opinion on that is that, two grown adults can decide how to do their finances as they see fit, in the sense that, yeah, like I said, everybody's different and everybody can do their finances however they want, as long as it's, they agree. But more personally, I agree with Ashley, and that is the approach that I favor, because I think that that is, I find that more equitable, in the sense that it it places the same percentage of financial burden on each party, because I feel like if, especially if the incomes are very different, then doing a straight 50-50 would result in a heavy burden for one person and a windfall for the other, really. Uh, so, besides that point, the other thing I think is that um, to me, this arrangement works, assuming that there are no children involved. But if there are children involved and one of the parties is taking care of the children, then that should be taken into account in order to calculate what percentage, uh, like that should be taken into account when considering how much monetarily they're contributing, because they're already contributing a lot of domestic labor into the relationship. The other thing, well, combined finances, I think that's fine. Yeah, I think that it should be, I don't know if everything should be combined, but at least, a portion should be combined coming from like a common pool, and maybe the other people maybe have each party have like their own money, so to speak. And the last thing would be with regards to power. I mean, unfortunately, in many cases, when there are very different incomes, sometimes the higher earner can be tempted to use that as some sort of leverage into the relationship, and I think that should not be the case. Like, nobody should be trying to use their economic position as sort of a leverage in a relationship.
Oh, Renzo, you have me think of so many different issues that could come up. I mean, wow. So let's talk about one partner making more than the other from a male and a female perspective. Do you guys care if the woman makes more money than you? Would that bother you?
Well, what are the statistics on that? Like women normally, they always try to date up, right? So a woman always always looking for a guy who can lead them, who is quote unquote better than them, right? So if she's making more money, she'll see herself as being better than you. And statistics have proven that that's always detrimental to the relationship.
So you won't date a woman that makes more than you?
For in my case, like I told you, I'm more for traditional, so I'm trying to date a woman who really doesn't want to work.
So no. Wow. Okay. So she got everything else, but because she make more than you, she's out of the picture.
Yeah, because then it's not gonna last.
Okay. Or she gonna have to quit her high paying job to be with you.
No, there might be some super outlier, because there are few women like that where they don't care if they make $1 million and you make one, it really doesn't matter to them.
See, because that's the thing, is that I feel that a lot of, let's say again, the typical single professionals, especially in the Black community, a lot of women are doing better than guys nowadays. Yeah. So I feel like we are more open to the guy still being able to take care of himself, but maybe not making as much as we are making. I know different women that would accept a guy that way. They just want a guy who's going to bring those things, such as, emotional support and those kinds of things, some companionship versus the dollar value. But I don't know, Ashley, what do you think about amongst your friends and, the girls that would they be willing to date someone that didn't make as much as they do?
I think as we're getting older, it's becoming less likely that women in my circle are looking for, not looking for, but are willing to date guys that make less than them. I definitely think like when you're younger, it's less important. Like I said earlier, it's less important. And as you get older, it becomes more important that the person makes more money than you. Because you're looking for security, right? And yeah, I agree. Maybe not with the words that he has used, but I definitely agree that like you're looking for someone that might make more money than you, but it's not, for me, it's not like a deal breaker. It's not like to say like, oh, if I make money, no, I definitely cannot, date you. It's not the end. Again, it's not the end all be all. I think if it works, it works. But I definitely think most times we're looking for someone who makes more money than us.
Ladies, hear from you, because this the thing is that I feel like I'm so independent. Like I'm not looking for you for money at all. Like I want you to be able to hold your own, but like I know that I need to take care of myself. So I don't know if it's like I don't know what it is, but That's a really good point. I want to hear from you ladies, okay? So we got two different opinions. Let us know in the comments. Are you guys okay with the guy making the same or less than you as long as he can hold his own? Renzo, how about you? Is it a deal breaker if she makes more than you?
No, no. At least to me, it never has been. I've been actually in two situations where that has been the case. One of them, everything was fine, no issues with her making a little more than me. The other, yes, it did become an issue, but that is because initially I was making more, but then things changed and she got an opportunity to make more. And it only became an issue because um, her attitude changed as she made more, as she became wealthier. You know, and to me that really was the issue, the changing attitude.
Wow, so these are all things to think about, again, because we have all these different scenarios. Okay, so what about, so we're talking about separate incomes versus joint incomes and all that. Are you guys okay if she says, hey, or he says, I want my own account? Like, we could put money here, but I don't want to put all my money in this pot. Like, I want to have my own thing. Are you okay with that?
What is the purpose of doing that? So that when you leave, you could have your own thing? Like,
she ain't going nowhere.
From the time you start to think like that, that's like a red flag for me. I'm out.
Wow. So she an Alcatraz. So she really can't leave you.
I mean, she could
have to rely on you. You made her quit a job.
No. I mean, she could have certain provisions made. Like, I'm not trying to take your life away from you. You could be like, listen, you know, if I want to leave, like if things are not, and I have to give up my career, I have to give up all of this. This is what I expect. When I leave, I want the house, I want this, I want you to pay me this much alimony. I have no problem.
Okay, we're gonna talk about prenups next.
Like, I have no problem. I'm not trying to take your life away from you. I'm not trying to make you miserable. But if I get married, I'm letting you know that, like, listen, we're a lifetime partnership. They say, you know, oh, well, I'm gonna just keep mine over here. And well, what about if I want to buy you a gift? I was like, always come with that stupid. No, it's like, no, like if we're going to be together, we're a unit, we're a partner, we're a business. Like, businesses don't keep separate accounts for the CEO and the CO. Like, no, it's one unit, it's one family.
But you're okay, so you're not okay with her saying, let me keep my money on the side in case this works out. But you're okay with her saying, if this doesn't work out, I want X, Y, and Z. Right, because okay.
At that point, we're splitting assets. Okay, we cannot be no longer a unit. We're splitting assets. I want this. I'm gonna take this from the business. You get that from the business. I get the table, you get the chairs.
Okay, how about you guys? Renzo, if she wants to keep her own account, are you okay with that? Or is that like a red flag?
You know, it's difficult. I mean, it will be a little bit of a red flag. Well, I wouldn't think maybe a red flag, but it's definitely something that I would want to discuss more. I favor a joint finances too, like a joint account. Now, if she wants to keep a part of her income, you know, like a small part, like, you know, 25% maybe, that's fine. But if you want to keep everything separate, that might be an issue. Like the relationship, I agree, to me is a unit, is something joint, and you know, I think as part of that unit, you owe each other transparency, you know, and trust. So I feel like, you know, to me, that also covers finances.
Okay. What about you, Ashley? What if he doesn't want to join?
I agree that it's worth a discussion, and I'm in favor of joint finances. We're in a partnership, transparency, everything that was stated before. I'm in agreement with all of that. So yeah, having your own, and like Renzo said, if we have our own and it's like, okay, we're putting a portion of it, but maybe you're saving towards something you want to buy yourself or whatever, like, yeah, sure. But not like, and it's a small portion of your income that's going into it or whatever. But for them, and even that should be transparent. Like, we should be able to talk about what's in these separate accounts. But if you have to make it a point, like, no, I want the finances to be separate, I think that's like As a matter of fact, I think I'm gonna say it does raise like red flags. It does like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you have like some sort of hobby or interest that's very niche to you that has nothing to do with the relationship, it's fine. Like you know, if you want to buy cryptocurrency or something like that, I'm like, yeah, can you not do that from our common?
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
yeah, maybe you should do it out of your own for that.
So you go to jail. We know somebody's got to scare the kids. Okay, very good discussion. Okay, so let's talk about prenup. Our last thing we talk about. So, how do you guys feel about prenups? Okay, if your partner says, "Hey, I want you to sign this prenup. You know, I love you, but you know, can we just sign this prenup in case anything happens? You know, our assets and everything are all settled." Are you guys signing it? Are you offended? Yes or no? Tell me, Ashley.
I am. Oh Lord, I am not signing it. I'm of the mindset, and I've heard it said many times before, but I feel like you're preparing for an end, and I don't want to go into a marriage preparing for the end. I you hear it so many times, but and at this point it sounds cliche, but that's how I feel about it. Literally, like signing a paper that states that if and when we end, this is what happens, tells me you feel like if and when it will end. And so I'm not signing. I don't even think I want to be with someone who that is like they want that. I don't think.
So
No,
what if you're balling? What if you're the one with millions and you pick up a guy who's not as, you know, affluent as you are?
I
Change the story?
I don't have the millions now, so I can't speak to I can't speak to how I would feel if I had the millions. But right now, not having the millions, I'm telling you, I would not make him sign. No, because that's still like I'm preparing for a demise of our relationship. I'm not gonna get married if that's how I'm going to feel. Like I'd rather stay in the situation and Oprah it out with me and my lifelong partner and never get married or whatever. But I'm not gonna get married to like plan and ends.
Wow. Okay, Renzo, what do you think? Are you signing it? Are you offended? What do you think?
Ooh. I might not be offended necessarily. They might have a legitimate reason to do it, but to be honest, right now I cannot think of any like good faith reason to do it. And no, I wouldn't sign it. I agree with Ashley. I feel like it's almost like writing a will for the death of your marriage.
Oh, that's interesting how you worded that.
Yes, I agree.
Like you know, this person gets this in the event of you know, this ending. It's strange, you know, because I feel like you know, and I feel like that this is why these conversations are important, because yeah, we're talking about finances and numbers, but that doesn't mean these decisions are solely business decisions or like solely rational decisions. I feel like, you know, there is an emotional component to these decisions, and you know, you can pretend that it's not there, but at some point it's gonna show up. I mean, I feel like that's why, you know, if I'm being transparent, I feel like that's why I would be offended a little bit if somebody presented me with a prenup, even if it made perfect logical sense.
Yeah.
So you said it's because of the emotion, because you'd feel like maybe that means they didn't trust you, or?
I mean, there is a little bit of an emotional component to those decisions. You know, to many decisions that a couple takes. So yeah, part of it is like the doing a prenup, or you know, or the separate bank account. You know, I feel like okay, why they may have a perfectly logical and rational reason to want to have separate bank accounts, but you know, it's hard to sometimes maybe not feel like okay, why don't they want to unite with me? Do they have something to hide? I don't know, you know.
How about you, Thaddeus? What if she says she wants to do a prenup with your crazy butt? When she gets sick of you and she's trying to leave, when she's trying to escape.
So if you're a guy and you don't sign a prenup, I'm going to say that you are pretty, I'm looking for a nice word to describe.
Renzo just said he wasn't going to sign it. So look at Renzo, look at the camera, and tell Renzo what he is.
That's only because he hasn't done the research Once he
Even
starts,
with the research, some people
so
just
even
love and go
so
based on trust and faith.
and that's why majority of relationships fail, because we go into this thinking, oh, this is going to be, emotions change. They change all the time. As a matter of fact, most after 2 years of marriage, I just spoke to a woman, a lady today. She's married for like 40 years. And you know what she told me?
What did she tell you?
After 2 years, all that emotion goes right out the window. And you know what? What keeps your marriage together is all the things that you were supposed to discuss on the first, second, and
On the
third.
first day.
Financing. So knowing this, you might go into this relationship, oh, Nikki, I love you so much. That's like, you know, where it was, but then 10 years down the line, you hate my guts, I hate your guts. Now it's like, oh, well, at the time, I was so in love with you, I didn't want to sign a prenup. Now I hate your guts. Now, guess what? You have the upper hand against me now, because if I have to treat you well, because if you leave, you could take over half my stuff. That is not happening. No. Sign a prenup. As a matter of fact, I'll go as far as saying every year you also need to update your prenups. Every year you need to update your prenup. So that's, and I get it. We like to be emotional and think, oh, well, this will never happen to me. Ask every person who have every single mother who have a kid right now, ask them, or anybody who got pregnant, ask them if they always thought that it wouldn't happen to them. Right? These things happen, and you have to prepare for it. If you don't prepare for it, then you're gonna get shafted up the butt when it does happen to you. Just get a prenup. Worst case scenario, you don't use it, all is fair.
Best case scenario.
It's just like one of those things. It's like carrying a gun or carrying a condom. It's like, listen, it's better that you never need it and you had it than you need it and you don't have it.
Oh no!
So
that's so logical.
Oh my gosh! Okay, bro. Thank you.
That is the sheer, just pure logic, like spoken from pure, unadulterated, just logic.
The marriage contract is the one contract that rewards the woman for breaking it. So get a prenup, bro.
Well, I will add to that. Also, get some advice when you draw a prenup, because just because you put something on the prenup doesn't mean the court is gonna necessarily recognize that. So if you put something that is like way one-sided, or just, you know, way like against public policy, like it's not a guarantee that the court will necessarily just say, oh, well, you signed this paper and that's gonna trump everything. Just saying.
That's a good point too.
That's why you need expert lawyers.
Well, lawyers, yeah.
I actually know some lawyers here in Miami that are, this is what they do. Listen, you need these things. You cannot go into marriage thinking that this is all, like every person who ended up at the divorce court, they started thinking that this was going to be forever and they loved each other and all of this stuff. And now you can see, like I've seen pictures of couples on the floor dividing up the little beanie babies. You get this one, yo, this is how it's probably going to end up. So protect yourself. Count those beanie babies before you get married.
Okay, thank you, Thaddeus. Whew, all right now. Okay, calm down. Again, ladies, you're watching every episode. This is yes. Y'all ready to sign them monthly?
Thaddeus is going to save
them
your
annual prenup.
Annual prenup agreement.
I'm going to bring up the whole topic of kids, because that is something where I felt like if someone did want me or I was going to sign a prenup, to think about the kids, because, you know, sometimes you hear about that, right? That the people split up and then the kids are left out in the cold that were pre-existing, you know what I mean? So in terms of that, and even having a will and all that, to really think about the kids and their impact. I wouldn't mind if a guy said, well, can you sign this prenup where my kids get X if we don't work out? Because I'm all about the kids. So if he has pre-existing kids, I'm totally fine with that.
So if you had a kid.
Wait, what you mean? No, I'm saying if he wants to do it because the kids are involved.
Oh, so that's the only reason to do it.
No, I'm just saying that kids are a big factor to think about
not
too.
All of his assets that he worked his whole life. So just don't worry about that. But worry about the kids.
No, I understand. Like if a guy is like a millionaire or something and he, you know, just wants to protect himself, I wouldn't mind.
So why do you have to be a millionaire? Now, suppose I work my whole entire life. And everything I have is only worth $50,000, but that's my life. That's what I worked for.
It's
Okay,
yours.
you can keep your 50 G's.
You can keep your $50,000.
Good. Well, I'm not saying it every year though. You plan too much.
Why not? So now, I went from 50 now to now 50 million. You don't think, well, we need to redo the contract?
We do it.
Anyway,
but if you pay 50,000 now you have 50 million, does that help
coming
you?
up. Remember to this date. Sign up.
this conversation made me think about a will though, and talking about finances. Y'all need to think about a will. Even young folks, like a lot of times they don't think about it till you're getting older, but people need to have a will. What if they have a pre-existing will? You okay? Like, what do you think about creating a will?
It's only for, well, not only, but most people when they leave Earth, they don't leave anything. So I don't see why they would have a will.
Wow.
A will is only for if you have substantial amounts of assets.
Wow.
Yeah,
So, y'all create a will, okay? Even if you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s. I have one, especially if you have children. Create a will, okay? Renzo, tell me. Ashley, tell me.
People dying, like you have to get a GoFundMe to bury them.
Sorry, go ahead, Renzo. What were you saying?
Tell you something about wills?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, will is something. I mean, even if you have even if you don't have a lot of money, I think it's fine. You know, maybe there are certain possessions that you have that may be valuable that you think may be better used by one person or another. And yeah, I don't see a big problem with that. I feel like that's different from a prenup.
Yeah.
At least to me, you know. But yeah, if they're children, obviously, you know, yeah, it's, you know, if I'm married and have children, of course I'm gonna think of wife and children in the will and try to devise something for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, depending on the situations.
Yes. Okay. So good conversation, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Before we leave, again, we always trying to give some takeaways based on this discussion and the whole topic of talking about finances and dating and marriage. You guys have any kind of final words you want to say for our audience before we leave?
Let's recap, shall we?
Did you say let's recap?
Sign a prenup. Also, make sure that you speak about finances early on.
Yes.
Don't do it when, you know, after you have already
made ties.
Exactly. And then now your feelings are involved, and now it kind of doesn't matter. So when she tell you, you know, the pillow talk, you know, honey, I owe $1 million, and you be like, no, don't worry, we'll find a way to pay it off. Like, you want to know these things up front before feelings and all that get involved. So very, very important. Take care of your finances first and foremost before you get to the good stuff. Second of all, sign a prenup.
Okay, yeah, so you heard it from us. Let's give a shout out. Thank you to everyone who's joined us on the show today. Ashley, thank you.
Thank you.
Renzo, thank you. And thank you for supporting us, guys. And from Thaddeus and I, thank you for joining us on My Comfy Couch. See you next time. Toodles.
Bye.
Bye.